It is April something, 2020, 13th, thanks. And it's really abnormally cold outside. And the wind is blowing from the north, which usually means that it's, at least for the past, well, since we've lived here, it's been really cold inside when it's like that. We haven't had to, do a lot of heating today or the past few days, but it is a little bit normal for it to be just colder than usual. Our house is 68.9 degrees right now. That's up from, it was 64, I think, this morning when we woke up. And then we go into the sunroom. It's a mess out here, but I've got a thermometer here, but it's not accurate. It's about 10 degrees colder than it usually, than what I think it is. We'll see how accurate it is. This one says that it's 92 right now. And we'll give this a few minutes to calibrate. Wow, it feels freezing cold compared to the stuff out here that obviously feels warmer. Okay, so while that's warming up, I'm just gonna see what's going on out here. So we had an orange tree here, not sure what happened. It's dead now. So we've planted new seeds, see if we can get something coming up. These are various bird seeds. And those will be what will live there forever, at least for their lifespans, if the orange tree doesn't come up. So we'll see. Whew, it's warm out here. This is a sunflower from last year. And these are 4 sticks, 3 of which have survived. These are Bullianus poplar. I just love them. They're such pretty trees with a silver furry underleaf, and the mature trees have white bark, which I just love, kind of reminiscent of aspen, but really large trees. I just transplanted these 2 tomatoes that were not doing well. They had far outgrown their pots, so I think they'd used up most of the nutrients in their pot, as well as just gotten a little bit root bound. So we'll see how those do. I think we'd like to experiment this year with keeping at least a couple tomato plants indoors for the whole season. I know there are some problems with what do you call it? Pollinization. Maybe keep them indoors. Maybe we can find a way around that. I know that if you, at least I've heard, that if you just tap, kind of shake or tap the ripe flowers, the flowers that are ready for pollination, that they will self-pollinate that way. We'll see. I think we've had varying degrees of success with that in the past, so we'll try that again this year. Oh my goodness, it is just roasting out here. Whew, starting to sweat. We've got a 10-year-old rosemary here. It's just doing great. I love that it loves being out here. It can survive the winter out here, even though it gets really cold. We've tried different things with the ceiling here, ceiling and roof. Last winter, all winter and all summer, we had this covered with 4 inches of foam insulation, same as what we have on the house. And it kept it from getting really hot like this. It also didn't allow it to collect much heat in the winter, which of course you want more heat in the winter, less in the summer, so it's something that's not perfect. These 2 tomatoes that I already transplanted a week ago are doing great. We bought one of those basil plants from the grocery store a few weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it turns out that those things are not just one plant, they're a number of them. And so Laura Jean did a really good job of separating them. It looks like even these are three or four plants each. Here's 2 plants. And there's 3, maybe 4 plants in that. And we've got another one inside above the kitchen sink. And they're all doing great. So now we invested, what, $3 or $4, maybe $5. And now we have 5 of the plants. And they're now just as big as the original. And we could separate them again. But maybe we'll end up using them by that point. Here are some cucumbers that I planted from seed about 2 weeks ago. Don't know what this little guy is, but that's going to come out. This is from old seed, like 5 years old, and obviously not a great success rate with that. But we do know that some of them are coming up. I think I put 2 seeds in each one, and only 1 came up in each of these, and none, of course, in the other 4. No, it looks like maybe. Nope. I can see the seed there. It's definitely dead. Okay, so not great, but now this is the first indication of my red peppers that are coming. Yeah, I thought those were probably dead. In fact, I was just going to mention that those are dead too. It's been, gosh, I guess just about 2 weeks since I planted these, and these peppers were from an organic red pepper that I bought at the store, and just saved the seeds and planted them. Planted them within 5 minutes of opening the pepper. So looks like we're having some success with that. Swiss chard from a couple years old seed, 2 or 3 years old. Brandywine tomato. I believe this was brand new seed, so 100% success rate with that, or near. I actually transplanted a couple of them that didn't seem to be coming up so I took some of the ones that were doubled up here. So it looks like, I don't know, maybe half of those came up, and 100% of the Swiss chard. Down here, down where it's 20 or 30 degrees colder than up where I was just a second ago. Got the colder season crops, and not sure why this particular one is totally dead, but most of these spinach are doing all right, and it's more just an experiment to see if my seed was good. It looks like it is, because this is easier to just grow out outdoors and really close together, almost like rake it in like grass. That's kind of what I want to do anyway. We'll see how it goes, because I make a lot of green smoothies, and Laura Jean and I drink those as often as we can. But we're going through so much spinach, those packages of organic baby spinach we get from the club store, and we buy so much of it that we thought we'd try to grow baby spinach on our own. This stuff is lettuce, and it's 4 seasons lettuce, which means that this particular one has been cultivated to do well in hot and cold weather. And it's really a nice lettuce, so I just like to keep a few of those alive. We have not done a lot with growing yet, because the weather keeps on changing. It is just frigid outside today. Let's see if that's changed very much. Oh, it only says 87 so far, which is definitely not accurate. It's way hotter than that in here. But we're waiting a little bit more. So we got projects waiting for here. This is not the best place in the world to put all of our construction supplies. Welcome to our home. We are obviously working on stuff, if it wasn't obvious enough from the outside. This is cute. Have to document this. Ice cream yum yum. It's a painting box that, I can't get it open. But of course that opens up be a little, uh-oh. Everett helped out with these. Emmy! Oh, baby girl. I'm sorry. You alright? Did you go up the stairs too fast? Sorry, sweetie. You've got to be careful.
That's not gonna...
It doesn't choke me.
It will if it gets caught on something.
Yikes. Yeah, maybe it should go around your, like, put one of your arms through it.
Like this?
Yeah, that's much safer. And it can still be a cape.
But it doesn't look very good on Elsa.
Oh,
Big Elsa.
yeah, I understand.
I want it like this.
I like it. I think it looks great still.
I can just like do this. Like do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Most of that cement is for the floors. Anyway, it was worth it to sacrifice one of my painting shipping boxes for this. They have had so much fun with this. Banjo and Emmy, and of course I mentioned Everett helped out with the illustrations. I just love it. Got some blooms. Not a lot. Last year we sprayed all our flower beds with a grass killer, and that's another thing we tried to avoid. But it made such a difference. It didn't get rid of all the grass, but it finally, we finally had success keeping ahead of things with our flower beds. And since almost nothing in here is edible, that was kind of our first attempt at using chemicals to help out. And it did help out. And the plan is to, once we get rid of all the grass, then we'll go back to organic. Because some things in here are edible and useful, some of the herbs. And of course we don't want to use poisons, but it has been helpful. It's worked great. That grass killer takes a few rounds to really do the job. Now this is something I do almost every day lately, is to just go out and check on the trees. I know trees don't change very quickly, but it's more just me sizing up how much I need to do to them, if anything. Now this is a pear tree. It was doing great. It was, well, probably, I don't know, almost shoulder height. And it grew, this is the first year we planted it, and it gave us 4 or 5 good pears. And one of the kids, when they were picking one of the pears, broke the tree right in half. So that poor little pear tree had given all it could just for those few little pears. And it didn't kill the plant, so it's come back, but I'm trying to decide if I want to let these ones grow. They're the biggest ones, the strongest, but actually all 3 of these down here are coming out from the side, and this one could be a nice leader. I don't know, any one of these could be a good leader, because I really just want it to be one good strong trunk at that height. That's only 10 inches off the ground. So any of you who are watching this have any suggestions? Or I could just do what I always do and consult a book and just do that. There's an apple tree that has come up from the roots of our old apple tree, the original one on the property, as have these 3. 1, 2, 3 course, these can't stay here, but I'll attempt to transplant them. Probably won't make it, but this poor thing, as well as this one and a few others. We bought these at Walmart. Big mistake. I think it was Sam's Club. Trash. I mean, it's taken 6 years for them to do anything, to even give us any indication that they're even going to decide to have a will to live. But finally, that first one I showed you is starting to do well. This one comes from the local garden place. Same as that pear tree, just real strong stalk. That's a plum. I feel like I have an attachment to each of these trees individually. I know their personalities. That's another Sam's Club one. It's taken a lot of pruning to get these ones to, I kind of feel it out. Every year I prune them a little bit differently, trying to see what it's going to take, what the tree wants. And this is one of them, and it's doing great now. But it took a long time and some really, really severe pruning to get it to finally be happy. It's finally got the right structure. This one's exactly what I want the other ones to do. It's sort of lacking a leader up here, but it's sort of branched off. But I'm okay with that at that height. That's going to be a good tree. Apple. Another pear. So we bought 3 new trees this year and filled in all the spaces that didn't have anything. I've got a little raspberry patch here, but I'm now thinking that I want to put either a large bush or another dwarf tree there. But other than that one spot, I love this, I love seeing that. Other than that one spot, our whole front orchard space is filled in now. There's a choke cherry. Just planted that from a stick a few years ago, and it's quickly spread. These things spread as bad as as this terrible grass that we have to contend with. But I like it when trees spread, and they're easier to control. And I just will gladly take the starts off of those and transplant them elsewhere to the property. One year, a few years ago, we had a garden spot extending all the way to out here. So I'm near the road. And I'd like to do that again. I think I want to have the whole garden take up this area. So, I don't know, approximately 35 feet wide by about 100 feet deep. That's a good sized garden, I think. And then anything out here would just be a pumpkin patch or a cornfield, which I kind of don't consider part of the other garden, because it doesn't really take that much to keep it going. I planted a lot of fast-growing shade trees and wind-blocking trees out here, and the voles have just quickly killed a lot of them. But lately I've been mixing up a mixture of what is the oil? Can't think of it now. Mentioned it in my other video. And my brain knows what I'm talking about. My mouth doesn't. Anyway, the vole repellent oil. And look at this. It's evidence of a gopher that's active. So I've got to do something about that. Whenever I find evidence of an active living gopher, I have to resort to more than just repellents. Because once it shows where it lives, I will dig it out, or dig out the hole, the trench, and burn. They have some little smoke out bombs at the farm stores, and I'm gonna smoke it out. That's code word for kill it. Generally speaking, now that we've started using the castor oil. That's what it is. The castor oil method of keeping the voles and groundhogs and stuff away. It's not groundhogs, voles and gophers. We've had some pretty good success with trees. Wow, 20-minute video. Sorry myself, who's gonna try to watch this in the future. Well, I'll go check the mail, and I'll say bye-bye.